Hello and welcome. It's Pete here again. It's another Tim Holtz launch. Can you believe it? Now last time Tim released some wonderful dies and 5 gorgeous multi-level embossing folders. But now it's all about 3D embossing folders. Not just any old 3D embossing folders. These are twice the size of a standard folder. That means twice the creative potential. So let's take a closer look at them. Okay, let's start with an old favorite of mine. This one's called Lumber. Now, Tim's brought out a few different wood effect folders in the past, and this one, when it was a smaller one, I adored it. I used it for so much, and it opened up so many new techniques to me. You can see what I've done. If it catches the light, you can see I've used gilding wax to bring that out, and it's pretty much just a bit of rose gold mixed with graphite color. Anyway, that's by the by, but these individual knots, the level of detail in there is quite incredible, and I use some pretty cool techniques to bring out the best in that. So this, you can see here, this is something I did, this sign, and I've also embossed the letters. This is one of Tim's alphabets from 2023, if memory serves. But you can see what I've done here. I've used a combination of dry brushing and brayer work. I might do a video on this at some point, actually. And I've even snipped off the ends to give it that kind of wood plank effect. But that is so effective, and it's just using matte acrylics. Now, again, similar sort of thing. This time we use different colors. We've used resist as well. We've used a wax resist. You can do it with a wax candle or a crayon or something like that to get these individual sort of planks. So that would make a great basis for a sign or even a picture frame. Speaking of frames, look at these now. This is deeper. This is a deeper sort of color to those, but I've cut them at certain lengths so that I can create a frame effect like that, whether you have them going end to end or slightly overlapped to give it a more rustic feel. But that's just a few applications. Using this wonderful wood folder, and because they're bigger, you can do, and we'll talk about the size of these folders and the why as well. Now, this box, if you were given a gift or a card or something in a box like that, I mean, how special is that? And you know what? It takes no time at all to get from just plain black card to this. But you couldn't do that with a normal folder because of the size of it. I mean, physically, you just can't. So having that extra size opens up the potential to do some very different projects. That is Lumber. Now let's move that out. I want to look at this one. I know this was a favorite for many of you when it came out, not just because of the vintage sort of aesthetic. And this one's called Entangled, incidentally. And I've used the graphite and the silver gilding wax to bring that to the fore. But it's not just the aesthetic, it's the depth that you actually get in this. It's the depth and how that has been preserved into a larger folder. And let's actually bring the folder in, shall we? Now, I don't know, I hope you can pick it up, but boy, oh boy, the depth in that, to sit down and create something like this from scratch. Wow, there's a lot of love gone into that. Incredible folder. But again, it's a larger size, a larger format. Take a look at this example. And I've used that actually to create this notebook cover. And all I did with this basically was I used matte acrylics and I painted it over silver cardstock. So I embossed the silver cardstock, then the matte acrylics, I really brushed it free and easy, let it dry, and just sanded it back. And you can see the sanding marks, but it's imperfect. And that is that very imperfection that makes this absolutely perfect. It's a really cool effect. I mean, I could have done so many effects with this. We could have done the box again, you know. This is, well, I won't talk about what we could have done because we'll see other examples as we go along. But this one, my friends, that is called Entangled. Then next up, Foundry. Now this is an old classic. If you like it kind of vintage, if you like it industrial, if you like it grunged up, this is just plain black card. And what we've done is I've used rose gold and the graphite just to bring that up, the luster waxes, of course. There are so many techniques, so many different mediums you could use. And again, we've created this box and another one of those Tim's Word, what were these called? I can't remember, but I've still got a box of them and I use them quite often. But, you know, I mean, imagine giving a gift in this as well. And the only reason I can do this box, because this cardstock, to make the box started off this size. And you can see the size of 4 centimeters in depth all around. Again, the level of detail in this, it's very subtle. You know, we talked about the depth on the Entangled, but this one, it does not have the same depth. It's far more subtle, and it needs to be. It needs to be to carry it off. But I've used acrylics here, I've used gilding waxes, I've used all sort of things just to bring that to the fore. With gilding wax alone, it looks spectacular, but again, it lends itself to so many different techniques. So let's put Foundry to one side and bring in this, which is absolutely loves gilding wax. And again, it's one of those with real intense depth. But to maintain that depth across something this size and to get a really clear, crisp, neat emboss, wow, that is quite something. And this one is called, it's going to come to me in a second, I know it is. It's Botanical. Of course it is. Of course it's. You know what? You work with these for months and you forget the name all of a sudden. As soon as somebody switches on a camera. Anyway, yes, this is Botanical. And again, you know, and this is not just one of those repeating patterns. There are so many different elements and every single piece of this is completely bespoke and completely individual, which is testament to the designer's skill. Now, this one, we've seen this technique before. This is where you ink one side of the folder, you put the paper in and run it through the machine. And we've got lots and lots of different videos which will illustrate how that is done. But I wanted to use this for a picture frame. I wanted to get my vintage on. And again, you can see I used that technique. So I took the folder and with a brayer, I applied ink to this side of the folder. Okay, that blue ink, that lovely blue ink. Then I put my paper on that side, close up the folder and run it through the machine. And it gives you that. But obviously I've used distress ink around the outside and just over the top of the detail, just to pick that out and give it a vintage vibe. And again, going back to our boxes, this one, I wanted it to look like old tin. Old embossed tin. My grandfather was a blacksmith and he had lots of little tools in tins very much like this, but without that wonderful level of emboss. I think this is one you want to look out. I'm going to do a video showing how to achieve this technique because it's really cool. Yeah, and that one is Botanical. So one more to go. Typewriter. Now this typewriter, this is probably I can actually if I just speak quiet, I can hear you all cheering because I know how beloved this is of Tim's fans. It is the smaller one. The smaller one was super popular, but I think this larger one, it's going to be incredible because you know the size of it. You can cut out a strip from there. You can cut out the individual letters. You can use the whole thing. It is one of those that just creates the most wonderful background, even if it's done only monochromatically. I've got something here. It's kind of a work in progress, but I use my gilding wax. I use all the colors of the rainbow there. There's silver, there's gold, there's rose gold, there's everything. And I blended them together with my finger on a piece of card and just made a glorious, glorious mess. And it's all the better for it. But this is something I made just using some of Tim's dies from last year, I think. I think there were some Vault dies from last year. And all of it, Tim Holtz bits and pieces. And you can see just there, just in the background, and it does such a service to the foreground elements as well, but it sits back, but it's strong, it's powerful. Really, really great embossing folder. So much depth, and so much individual detail. This is one where we talk about individual detail. Every one of these letter bars, type bars, I should say, every element, there's no copy and paste here. They are all completely unique, very much their own. So if you wanted to do just somebody's initial, like me, for example, the P, just cut the P out individually, you know, put it on a card next to a photo, something, I don't know. It's just so many ideas pop into the head when you see a folder like this. And versatility, of course, is the key. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, completes my presentation. So there you go. Absolutely wonderful. Love these folders first time around when they were in the smaller format, and I love them even more now. How Sizzix and Tim have done this to make them bigger but retain that detail, it's quite incredible. But if you want more inspiration, if you want to see some cool techniques, go to all the usual places, YouTube, Instagram, you know the drill. I've really enjoyed this. I'll see you again soon.